Every few years, there seems to be a student that just is uncategorized in their excellence, that they just live larger than life, that everybody in the school knows them. They manage to inspire everybody by their gregariousness or their strength of their character or their fortitude or their circumstances. And I just wanted to be able to recognize those who aren't recognized by some organization here in the school. And so when Molly came along, it was the perfect fit. I can't think of anybody in my life that I've known who's been more inspirational in the way she's lived her life than Molly Fausone.
Molly is kind of like a mentor figure. She's always there to help, answer questions. She doesn't mind putting something down that she's doing to help me.
Molly's a great classmate. She's so much fun to be around. She always makes me laugh.
She lights up a room when she comes into it. She brings out the best in the people I know. She's quick to a smile, quick to a joke, that kind of person.
Everything she does just has such energy, and she has such a spirit in her that really, it's so hard to describe, that she just is, I'm so lucky to have her in my life.
It was July, and we were at a friend's cottage, our dearest and best friends. And the kids were all playing in the water, like they always do. Molly's a great swimmer, and at that point she was 15, so we didn't really watch the kids like we did when they were little. They could all handle themselves easily. And we think, just took a dive to try to get out a little deeper and hit her head on the bottom of the lake.
She broke her neck and she suffered a spinal cord injury. It's called a C5, C6 incomplete injury.
She had 2 surgeries in the next 3 or 4 days, was in intensive care for several days, and then was moved over to the Rehab Institute and stayed there for 3 months.
When we pulled her out of the water, and you know, she had just gone unconscious at the time, and we got her mouth open and she started breathing on her own, and she looked up at me and she said, "Aren't you glad I did cross-country training camp this summer and that I could hold my breath?" And I just kept holding my breath, hoping that somebody would get me, you know, before I drowned.
When she got hurt, I mean, friends and like supporters just kind of came out of the woodwork. People that like I had never met, but they're like, "Oh, I know your sister. She's like such a nice person. We had a class together."
The night we were in the emergency room, one of Molly's friends from Loyola appeared with her father in the emergency room. We don't, to this day, I'm not even sure how they found out she was hurt. They were just there. And within 24 hours, Loyola had organized a prayer service, which apparently several hundred people attended. And within a week, the administration was on the phone to us. How can we help? What can we do?
Several of the teachers here, Coach Simon, who's an English teacher, and Peter McNulty, who runs the Dunbach program, who's a math teacher, came down and tutored her from, you know, probably the beginning of September to the point in time when she left the hospital around Halloween.
I went down and visited Molly twice a week after school, and we would just do work that the class was doing. And boy, she soaked it up like a sponge. I mean, it was just incredible how well she learned on her own, especially given her circumstances. And it was extraordinary that, you know, she never took any shortcuts. She never made any excuses. She learned every single thing that everybody else did. In fact, in a meeting with the school district social workers and the other teachers, as Molly was coming back to Loyola, I remember I was the last one to speak, and everyone was concerned with how was Molly doing in math. Well, at that time, this is late November, she had the highest grade in the class, and she was slightly ahead of everybody else. And I think that's pretty par for the course for Molly.
She was going to stop asking why this happened, why did this happen to me, and she just accepted the fact that it happened to her. And now her task in life was to go on, and she told herself she was one day going to walk.
Molly's a competitor, and I think being a competitor, being an athlete, understanding goal setting and the challenges it takes and the hard work you have to put in to achieve those goals is how she looked at this injury. And goal setting for her at first was putting on a pair of socks.
Molly's a very straightforward person, and she kept asking questions. How's practice going? How are the girls? It really seemed like a natural conversation. It was really pretty much the same question was, do you still want to be on the varsity team? And really, with no hesitation, kind of like, why would you even ask me that question? It was, well, of course I do. And then her and I then, subsequent conversations were, okay, well, how are we going to make this a reality?
She makes it look easy to do her everyday routine and do what everyone else does. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and it's not always easy. And some days it's pretty tough. And she would never let on that that's the case.
She challenges you not to see her in a wheelchair, but to really see her who she is particularly in cross country, as an athlete on the team.
We thought it might be kind of hard for her to like tell other people like to run and how to run when like she's not doing it, but she has a hand bike, and so she was like working along right with us.